Amazing Race for Hap Up here live on a Friday night. And here I am with the Amazing Race know-it-all. Here she is. It's Jessica Lees. Jessica, how are you?
I'm great, Rob. How are you?
Yes, I am very happy to have the Amazing Race for Hap Up here tonight. So I don't have to watch the Mets tonight, Jess.
Yeah, don't spoil anything. We're DVRing it, and I haven't seen any of it.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the Amazing Race. But you didn't DVR that, did you?
No, I did not. Well, I did because I have to watch it again, but I did watch it live as well.
Okay, all right. So you watched it live, and we're ready to talk about. Boy, that would be something if we came on and you were like, "Hey, don't spoil the Amazing Race for me. I haven't watched it yet." That would be an awkward hour.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit rough.
That would be like a Blair and Haley podcast.
Yeah, it'd be something.
It would be something. All right. So we went to Amsterdam tonight. It was a non-elimination leg. We had a lot of fighting between Blaley.
Yes, there was a lot of Blaley infighting, but it seems like it's not hate fighting. It used to be hate fighting, and now it's just kind of like Blair realizes that's how she talks, and she realizes that that's how Blair deals with her, and they seem to be okay with that.
Yes, and she's okay with it. We're okay with it as viewers. It was a night where I think a lot of people were screaming at their television. It was like watching Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, how long did it take you to figure out the Rivas?
Yeah. Darrelle Revis? All right, so we got a lot to do here. Let's just welcome in everybody who's watching us here live on robbinswebsite.com. We've got the chat room open. We got a very nice amount of people in the chat room, maybe the biggest live audience that we've had all season. So welcome aboard to all of you guys and girls. And so we've also got our hashtag open on Twitter, hashtag RHAP. And then also on our YouTube channel, just at robbinswebsite.com/YouTube.
So many ways to get in touch with us. There's no excuse for not.
Yes, no excuse for not getting in contact with us to talk about this episode of The Amazing Race. Only 3 weeks to go, Jess. 3 weeks from tonight, I guess. Or is it 4 weeks from tonight?
Whenever May 15th is, that is when it's happening.
So 21 days from now, we will crown the winners of The Amazing Race 26.
How crazy is that?
It's very crazy. Okay, Jeff, how many non-elimination legs have we had this season? Is this number 3?
Let's see. Yeah, it's number 3.
3. Okay, and so is that it for the season?
I think so. Depending on whether they're doing a final 3 or a final 4.
No, but if there's 3 hours left of the show, then there has to be another non-elimination leg. Yeah, unless they do like, hey, keep racing, like, and they don't call it non-elimination.
Yeah, that might be what they end up doing.
Yeah, I think that will be what they end up doing, because next week they'll get down to 4 teams, and then probably in the next to last week it'll be 4 teams, and they'll be like the last team like, hey, keep racing, everybody, and then go down to the final, start the final hour with 4 teams.
Yeah, I think that's likely what's going to happen. Either that or they'll eliminate somebody in the penultimate leg, and there will only be 3 teams in the finals. I don't know which way it's going, but I've heard rumors.
All right, Jess, tell us your thoughts on the Amsterdam leg tonight.
Well, I thought it was kind of weird that they went to Europe and then went to Africa and went back up to Europe. But I guess you got to keep people on their toes.
Keep people on their toes, and so we went get those Klompen ready.
Yes, get your toes ready for the Klompen.
Yeah, so what did you think just overall about the tasks tonight?
They looked fun. Like, there was not a task in there that did not look fun.
Even searching for Klompen?
Even searching for Klompen was kind of fun.
Even riding your bike where it smells like poop?
I have to imagine that this is not the poopiest place that they have been on this race so far.
Probably not. Okay, so we ultimately ended up with Matt and Ashley, who were not eliminated here tonight. Did you suspect the non-elimination leg was coming, Jess?
Well, I knew one would have to happen again at some point, but I didn't know whether or not it was going to be this leg or the next one.
Yeah. It's hard to get a good read, because sometimes they do the montage when they're definitely going to go home. But once Phil starts with filibustering a little bit about what's going on at the mat, you definitely know it's coming.
Yeah, well, it's the worst when he kind of does that and he starts tripping over his words a little bit, and then it is elimination. Like, that's the meanest.
Yes, that's very. Or when the last time we saw an elimination, it was just like just cut to the chase. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through a little bit of the highlights and top stories of the night. We found out that many of our teams are really bad at word puzzles.
Yeah, that kind of shocked me.
Yeah.
I tweeted about this, but Jelani and Jenny have presumably both passed the logic section of the LSAT, and they couldn't figure out that a sign with a whole bunch of eyes meant ice.
Yeah, and at the point,
then skating and rink, they still couldn't get it.
Yeah, at the point you get skating and then you get rink, how are teams not able to figure out that the first word is ice?
I have no idea.
I have no idea, or I have no idea.
Well, I think as soon as you get skating as the middle word, you should know what all three of them are.
Yeah, it really was, I was bum puzzled, Jess.
Yeah, that was flummoxing.
It really was, because teams just went over and over and over to try to get through that, and it was a very easy puzzle, you would think. One of the easier puzzles you've seen.
Yeah, I guess there's some added toughness in that you're in a boat, and it's cold, and you're half naked, and
the water is hot.
Yeah, and the water I think cooled off after a while. There's not like a central heating unit in that hot tub. I think it got cooler after a while. Like Tyler and Laura were complaining about this quite memorably.
The water is tepid.
Yes, it's. Well, I mean, the guy said it was 100 degrees, but that's not overly warm for a hot tub. Like, I usually like it a couple degrees warmer than that.
How many? How hot do you like the hot tub?
You like your hot tub to be about 103, 104 at least.
103, 104. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you get it to 100, keep it 100. How do they get the hot tub that hot in the first place?
I'm guessing that they have the water warmed separately. There might be some sort of heating unit somewhere in the boat, but I can't imagine it's very effective.
Yeah. Okay. The teams took different approaches to the hot tub. Of course, there was the Tyler approach, which was to just get down to your underwear. And then we had the Jenny approach, which was to go in the hot tub with a bathrobe on.
That can't be comfortable.
Right. I mean, that seemed odd. And then also we had the Haley approach, which was, I'm not exactly sure, she was wearing a shirt and underwear?
Yeah, it looked like a shirt and underwear.
A shirt and underwear, or
but it was it was like a clingy, stretchy shirt, but yeah.
Yes, that she would tell you that she is practically naked. Which...
You can't call yourself practically naked if you have long sleeves.
Yeah.
Unless you're Amish.
I know. She said that I was almost completely naked. I was in underwear and a shirt.
Yeah, that's not almost completely naked.
Yes, that's almost with no pants on.
Yeah, she's wearing basically what I wear to the beach, so.
Yeah. Apparently a bunch of guys laughed because they saw her butt.
Yeah, well, maybe they were just laughing because of the spectacle. Maybe they heard her complaining and that was funny in and of itself. We don't know that it was because they saw her butt, unless they cut out a part where they're like, ha ha, we can see your butt.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't that funny. Even if you could see her butt, I don't think that would, get a bunch of guys, hysterical laughing.
Rob, you're forgetting where they are.
In Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Oh, you think that they were high?
They might have been high. I'm not saying they weren't high.
Okay. Well, maybe that would make that extremely hilarious. I bet just in general, dealing with Haley might be easier in Amsterdam than it might be in other places.
Yeah, well, maybe the reason that Blair was so cool this leg, maybe he stopped off at a coffee shop. I don't know.
Maybe that's the RX for dealing with Haley.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is. what did you think about the way that Haley treated Blair in this episode?
Well, I think she was, in her weird way, I think she was trying to be supportive.
Well, we had during the Clumpin thing, you know, she was just like, you know, she just kept saying, come on, Blair, come on, Blair. But I think he's gotten really good at adjusting to it.
Yeah, he was just, it really didn't shake him that much. And there's a point when they're on the bikes and she's complaining that he's going too fast for her. And he turns around and he says, Haley, you're doing great. And I thought that was really telling as well. And then he slows down and lets her ride alongside him. And I think he's kind of realized you got to put your criticism in the compliment sandwich.
I think so. I liked it when he slowed down to ride with her. She was like, come on, let's go. Like, she was like, let's go faster.
Yeah.
And so then after they couldn't find the right place to turn, then she really chewed into him.
Yeah, well, I have to give her some credit there because she was right and he didn't listen. I mean, everything she says is technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. But yeah, she's being Haley about it.
Yeah.
But you could see, they did show the scene where she said, I think that's the street we have to turn. He's like, no, it's not. And he keeps going and doesn't listen to her.
Yeah. I like the resolution they came to where she said, you know, I'm always right and you never listen. And he's like, okay, well, let's move on from that. But she's like, but the thing is, I was right. Yeah, that's like, but we're skipping about the important thing. Where
we're not moving on from this yet because we haven't really processed. I was right.
Yeah, so I do feel though that Blair has gotten it down to just like she just is going to go on and on and on. He's just sort of like the doting husband at this point. He's like, all right, come on.
I think it's like you get accustomed to it. Like if you work somewhere where you have a certain level of background noise on you all the time, after a while you just tune it out. And I think that's what Blair is doing here.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just like he's built up a tolerance to this.
Yeah, he's going to get home, and he's not going to be able to get anything done for like 2 weeks because he's not going to have Haley in his ear.
So do you think that he will need Haley to, like, just be, like, following around constantly berating him?
Yeah, he needs to hear, come on, Blair, come on, Blair, come on, Blair.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the tasks from this challenge. So we started off first with going to Amsterdam, and then who has a nice set of Klompin?
That could really be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah, what is Amazing Race going for? What, is that a pun on something?
I don't even know. I can't imagine what it would be a pun for, and I can't imagine what it would be a euphemism for.
Yeah, it's like, is it a cheeky euphemism for something? Who has a nice set of Klompin?
And you notice that Haley didn't jump on that and say, I've got a nice set of Klompin, so we know what it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Maybe one of the Amazing Race producers can shed some light on that.
Maybe it's just shoes.
Yeah, who's got a nice set of Klompin? So you had to go and find a matching shoe. Did everybody's shoe the same, and there was only so many matching pairs of that shoe, or everybody have a different shoe, Jess?
I think everybody had a different shoe.
Everybody had a different shoe.
There were many, many different kinds of shoes.
And so you had to find the one shoe that matched all the pairs that you had.
Yeah.
Okay. So most of the teams got through this without too much difficulty. You know, Mike and Rochelle struggled with this, but nobody struggled as much as Matt and Ashley. Yeah, Matt and Ashley didn't really turn on each other. Could you imagine if this was Blair and Haley?
If this was Blair and Haley, I think they would have burned down the shoe shack.
Yeah. What do you think of the woman that was just like knitting in the center of the Klompin factory?
She's just like being singularly unhelpful. You see Matt ask her for help, and she doesn't even acknowledge him. She's just like stares straight ahead and does her knitting. Like, that's just mean. Like, at least...
She was very rude.
Yeah, at least be like, no, I'm not allowed to help you. Do it yourself.
Yes. And so, ultimately, Matt and Ashley just went on and on and on. Matt is growing a beard, Jess. And the beard, he will not shave it until they win. Or the end.
Well, okay.
What do you think of that?
Isn't he not going to know whether he wins or not until the end?
I guess so. Do you like the idea of like a playoff beard in the Amazing Race?
Well, if he gets eliminated, what happens then? Does he shave the beard, or is he never allowed to shave it?
It brings up a good question, Jess. Do teams shave on the Amazing Race?
Yeah,
they must.
You have access to all of your various grooming tools. Like, the women flat iron their hair and wear makeup. I would guess, though, that you would probably, in the interest of airport security, I would not bring a razor on the Amazing Race.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that before. I'm trying to think if I was on the Amazing Race, at what point I would say, I think I'm going to shave today.
Yeah, I think if I was a dude, I would go into the Amazing Race with a beard. Like, Mike's got the right idea. He doesn't have to maintain that for the entire time that he's on the race.
Yeah, because these guys that get to the end of the Amazing Race, they don't typically look like guys who got to day 21 of Survivor.
It's true. That's true.
I guess people feel like, hey, I'm on TV, I might as well shave.
Yeah. Well, Tyler's got a little bit of a scruff, and, Matt's got his beard going. Mike already came in with a beard.
Yeah. Jess, overall, did you like the teams riding bikes?
I did. I thought that was great. I think it was good for everybody, too. To kind of get them stretching their legs. They got out in the fresh air. They kind of cooled off a little bit. They've been to Namibia, where it's very hot and dry. They have the climate change. They need to get used to it. I think everybody appreciated the chance to be outside a little bit.
Yeah, except for Haley, who felt like it was very cold to be outside.
Yes. Well, Haley is a Florida girl. She's not used to those kinds of temperatures.
Do we know what time of year this is in Amsterdam?
Yeah, it was November.
Okay, that seems chilly.
Yeah, in fact, I think it was like 2 days after Thanksgiving. And the reason I know this is because the dinner that you see them sharing in Namibia at the beginning of the episode apparently it was Thanksgiving.
Oh!
So they let everybody have dinner together.
But that was nice. Did you like this?
Yeah.
Started the Amazing Race episode like that?
They're eating, sleeping, and mingling again. Nothing could thrill me more.
Yeah, I like that. I wish they would do more stuff like that. Like, I'd be okay with, like, the first 10 minutes being at dinner.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it necessarily needs to be a dinner, but show them interacting in a context where they're not ready to compete with each other.
Yes.
And I think they used to do that all the time in the very early seasons, and almost every fan I know that watched those early seasons misses it like crazy, so I think everybody's really thrilled to see them bringing it back.
Yes, we miss it. Okay, so the teams went out and were riding the bikes there in Amsterdam. Could you believe there's more bikes than people in Amsterdam?
I can believe it. When we were coming I've been to Amsterdam once, and when we were coming into town, there's a parking garage. There's like a 8-story parking garage, and the entire structure is full, like every level, every square inch is populated by a bike. There had to be like 10,000 bikes in this one structure, so I believe there's more bikes than people in Amsterdam.
Wait, do people have like 2 bikes each?
Yeah, you have your summer bike and your winter bike, or your road bike and your countryside bike. I don't know, I only have one bike.
Or do they have the bikes there all for tourists?
Well, they have to have tourist bikes too, because everybody owns their own bike, and then you have extra bikes for people that are visiting.
Yes. Do they have city bikes, Jess?
They do. They have some kind of bike share program.
Yes. Have you ever rode on a city bike?
No, I've never ridden a city bike.
Yes.
They don't go above 59th Street, so it's basically useless to me.
Okay. I'd like to do that. I'd like to ride a city bike.
It's fun to do once, I guess.
I guess so. But I'd be scared I'd get hit by a car.
Yeah, I don't ride anymore. I think we've been over this before, because I used to get doored a lot, and it's not fun. I have a bike, and I'll ride it, like I'll take it on organized rides, but I don't ride it in the city.
It's a good call. Okay, so the detour tonight was soak or shuffle?
Soak or shuffle, and this is a tough one because they both looked pretty fun.
They both looked fun, but which one do you think ultimately was easier?
I think it depends on your strengths. I think soak looked like, on the surface, I think soak looked easier. But I think if you had a knack for it, I think you could have gotten through shuffle pretty easily.
Yes. What would you have chosen, knowing what you know?
Knowing what I know, I probably would have chosen shuffle, but I think going into it blind with just the idea that you could get in a hot tub or go to the shuffle, I think I would have been inclined to choose soak.
Okay. I mean, soak did look pretty fun to ride around Amsterdam in the hot tub.
Yeah, when are you ever going to get to do that again? Like, you can go to any bar in Brooklyn and play shuffleboard, but when are you ever going to get to ride in a floating hot tub? So I think it is kind of informed by what's going to be the best experience.
Yeah. And so, Jess, I was thinking about in the beginning of the episode when Jelani says that he knows that one of the rules on the Amazing Race is don't U-turn a person that you can see again. Did you feel like, is Jelani potentially know the JL rules?
Jelani's been listening to the podcast.
Yes. Look at you.
Look at me.
That's a rule.
It's a rule.
Of the Amazing Race that you never, because you don't want to see the person again. But the way that Matt and Ashley handled that when back in that first conversation, like, yeah, look, we were just doing what we had to do. Is that an apology that counts?
No, that's like a Dan Foley apology.
Yeah, like I just did this because you did it to me first. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically.
even though they didn't do it to them first.
No, they didn't do it to them first.
Yeah.
But he could say, or they could do the Will Sims apology, which is like, we U-turned you because we don't like you, and we're just telling you the truth.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Okay, so soak or shuffle. Did you understand the rules of shuffle?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
You had a bunch of discs, and it was like one-sided air hockey, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You had to slide the discs, and there's 4 slots, and each one's got a different point value. And if you got it into the slot, you got that many points. But that's if you slid it in there directly. If you banked another one off of it and got it in that way, you got a 10-point bonus.
Yes. Okay. So the bonus, I think, was what was confusing.
Yeah. Well, that didn't seem confusing to me because we saw it happen and it came up on the screen 10-point bonus. So I was like, yay, Amazing Race, stealing stuff from Blind Date again. Use the cartoony little things on the screen to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they've done here. That they to get ready for Blind Date Amazing Race, they just watched all the episodes of Blind Date with Roger Lodge.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they did.
That's probably what they did. I think that they should have more captions on the screen on the Amazing Race. Do you think that
Haley breaks down in 3, 2, 1.
Wouldn't that be? I think that would be good.
Yeah, well, they trot them out. Like, it seems like the last 2 or 3 seasons, they've trotted it out every couple episodes. They have something kind of gimmicky, and they give you a little cartoon mascot to go with it.
I like that. I like when they do that. Okay, yeah. So the teams, 3 of the teams picked Soak, and the teams that picked Shuffle were Matt and Ashley, and then Mike and Rochelle. Matt and Ashley seemed like they were pretty good at Shuffle. Do you think that that's actually what happened? That was just a product of they were trailing, so we just got a very short version of them there to make it seem like they picked up time?
I'm not sure. I think they're probably pretty coordinated. Like, they work with their hands a lot, and they're athletic, so I'm willing to believe that they were pretty good at it out of the gate.
Yeah. I feel like you could probably do the shuffleboard faster, though, than, like, getting in the boat. Because I feel like the hot tub needs to, like, get around in a certain amount of time. But I feel like the shuffleboard, like, do you have to go at a certain speed? Like, why couldn't you just keep going, like, boom, 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 boom? Oh,
well, we saw Mike try to do that. Yeah. And it didn't get him very far, did it?
Why? Because you have to go do them slow?
Well, when he did them fast, he didn't have any control over them, and they kept bouncing.
All right, but still, okay, so don't throw them fast, but just okay, I feel like that you could just keep throwing the pucks, how many how long would an actual game take? 5 minutes?
Yeah, probably, but then they have to reset it.
So how long does that take?
I don't know. I've never played it.
Yeah, do you think you would be good at it?
I think I'd be alright at it. I'm pretty good at skee ball.
Yeah. Alright, so we had in the soak task, Tyler and Laura went first, and what's your read on Tyler? Do you like Tyler, or is he too full of himself, Jess?
I don't mind Tyler. He bugged me a little bit early on, but I don't mind him. I think he's kind of clueless.
You don't think he's too busy concentrating on his muscles?
I think he's aware that he's a good-looking man. And I think he can't divorce anything he does in his life from the fact that he's a good-looking man. But I don't think that necessarily makes him insufferable.
Who's more attracted to Tyler, Laura or Tyler?
Tyler, easily.
Easily. Yeah, even Laura was just seemed a little bit over it in the hot tub, would you say?
Yeah, a little bit. And Tyler was even saying at the end of the race that their mutual love for the race trumps any attraction they might have for each other.
Not good. No bueno.
I think we got another obstacle in there, which is Tyler's affection for himself also trumps any affection they have for each other.
Yeah, I think that maybe the Tyler and Laura blind date mans may also be DOA.
Yeah, it's not looking like, if it hasn't happened by now, I'm not sure it is ever going to happen, but Phil keeps wanting it to happen.
Phil really wants
Phil is shipping that hard.
Yes, he's shipping them, but it's not working. So,
yeah.
Again, they were struggling with getting this clue right, Tyler and Laura. Laura thinks the square root of 64 is 6.
Yeah, that's, maybe she's a humanities kind of girl.
Yeah. And they were really struggling, but they were the first ones to get it, and they become in first again, second week in a row that they are the first team to arrive.
Yeah, they were navigation superstars. I think what happened there was they found a shortcut, overtook Jelani and Jenny, and never really gave up that lead.
Did they get a prize, Jess?
Yeah, they got a prize. They always get a prize. They got a trip to Korea.
Oh, okay.
So they can, if they decide not to travel together, one of them can take the trip to New Zealand and one of them can take the trip to Korea.
Okay, there you go. All right, so Blair and Haley, they finally get there. We talked about Haley's outfit in going on the hot tub, and she was practically naked. They really milked that in the commercials for this week's episode.
Yeah, they really did, but I think they were just proud of themselves that they figured out how to get people to strip down to almost nothing in November in Northern Europe.
Yes. Jess, are you liking the every week is a dress up at the start of the episode?
Well, they took a couple of weeks, they took a week off from that. We didn't see them dress up as anything in Namibia.
Yeah, they should have done that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they would have dressed up as.
Namibia Bushmen.
Yeah, they couldn't never have gotten that past the censors. That would never have happened.
Well, you'd have to blur some stuff, sure.
Well, they had to blur some stuff this episode.
Yeah, so if you're blurring anyway.
I don't even know. Jelani got a tiny dot of blur that just followed him around like he was Amanda Kimmel.
Oh my God, where?
He had a crack situation.
Crack situation for Jelani. Keep you
guys but it was
posted.
such a subtle one. But there was every time they showed him from the rear, there was a little blurry dot on him.
Okay, so we'll keep you posted on Jelani's subtle blurring situation. Maybe Baylor Wilson could write a song about it. Okay, so then we have the other team that did this. It was Jelani and Jenny, and yeah, the Jenny in the robe in the hot tub was just so odd to me. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, the robe would get soaked, and then it would get heavy.
And it would get cold.
Yeah, the part of you that's not under the water is going to have cold, wet, heavy thing on you.
Yes.
And that's no good.
So, Jess, how did they ultimately figure it out? Did somebody tell them ice skating rink?
I think they must have, they sat there for a while with, skating rink and 5 eyes skating rink and 2 eyes, 3 eyes skating rink. And finally, they said eyes skating rink enough times that it sort of gelled, I think, is what happened there.
They finally got it. Okay. So the teams ultimately end up finishing in, we talked about Tyler and Laura, number 1. Blair and Haley were 2. Then Jenny and Jelani were 3. Then Mike and Rochelle are 4, and Matt and Ashley were finally 5. But, at the point where Jenny and Jelani come in 3rd place in this leg, after they struggled so much, I feel like we have seasons where, they're really top-heavy, where the teams at the top of the race, you say, wow, these teams could race with anybody. Then we have other seasons of The Amazing Race where it's just like, in the Kingdom of the Blind, whatever team with, one eye is ultimately king.
Yeah, and otherwise it's kind of a race to the bottom.
Right. Do you feel like that this is one of those seasons where, if we were going to have some sort of stack these teams up with the best of the best, it wouldn't be close, right?
I don't think so. Early on, I think they are very good at certain things. But I also think that they all have big blind spots that would make them, singularly unsuited to race against, the best of the best.
Like, for instance, like if Dave and Connor were out there, it wouldn't even be close every
No,
week.
Dave and Connor would be like, 6 legs ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. Like, it's close, it's exciting because all these teams are, for the most part, they get bunched up, but it just seems like if there was a team out there that really knew their stuff, they would just be streets ahead of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think so.
basically.
All right, so let's open this up for some questions, Jess. Did you have anything else from the episode? Any observations that you wanted to get out there?
I guess not.
Okay.
It was kind of, I don't think it was a great episode.
How dare you, Jess? How dare you? So let's take this first question tonight from Nick 2S. Did you like seeing the trash talking during the mingling meal at the start of the episode? Yes. I give me trash talking anytime in the episode.
Yeah, I think everybody should trash talk all the time.
Yes, I think we need more trash talk on The Amazing Race.
Yes.
Yes, not enough.
And I think there can be good-natured trash talk, and there can also be, like, actual competitive trash talk.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay, let's go to Jer Martin. Says, what was Tyler's best outfit so far on the race of the many?
Gotta be the lady boy. Or, excuse me, the lady man.
Lady man, that's right. You don't like his bougie Monaco outfit?
Well, he looked great in the bougie Monaco outfit.
Yes.
But that was really an outfit that Hayes wore, not Tyler.
Okay, that's fair. If it was what outfit did Hayes wear, that would be better.
Yes.
Okay, JJ Rule says, do you prefer detours that they have to solve the pit stop location? Do you prefer that?
I like any time there's an element of brain power beyond just go find this place. I've loved it every time they give people like a piece of money and say, go find the building on the money. Or find the place that this famous person visited. In season 1 they gave them a flag and said, find the country on this flag. And some of them got very close to going to the wrong country.
Just, was Phil actually at an ice skating rink? Was that what where they had to go to? Like, where did ice skating rink come into play?
Yeah, the ice skating rink was a pit stop.
Okay, got it. All right.
So Phil was like hanging out like on the ice. He didn't have skates, but he was like the actual mat was even I think on the ice. So.
Okay. All right. This is from Dominic Pell. Were Blair and Haley using a map app on the phone? Yeah, it looked like that. Blair had like some sort of like Android phone. Was that the selfie camera?
Yeah, that's the selfie camera, and a thing that people have been doing this leg of the race, which upsets a lot of the true fans.
And some of the former racers.
And some of the former racers, yes. Just to recap, they're taking a picture, like when they find a map, they take a picture of the map, and then they have a map. So, selfie cam kind of backfired in that regard.
Yes. That's what selfie cam, that's what'll happen if you let a selfie cam into the race. Teams will
That's what happens.
Take mappies.
I think next season, they just got to get an endorsement deal from GoPro and give everybody a GoPro, and then there's no, like, smartphone gray area.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, let's take this one from Victoria Esser. Amsterdam, your English is awesome. You must be amazing to visit.
It's true. Amsterdam is amazing to visit, and everybody speaks English.
Okay, all right. Put that on the bucket list.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I especially enjoyed the Tulip Museum, and we ate at a restaurant that was called Pancakes! Exclamation point. It was wonderful. And guess what we ate?
Great review. It's a great review. This is from George White. It says, we've never seen a fast forward later than leg 10 on a 12-leg season. Do you think we'll see a fast forward next leg?
No fast forwards. I'm gonna call it now. I don't think there are any. I was guessing, like, if there was gonna be one, I think it would have been this leg. But I mean, fast forwards in Amsterdam, always a popular thing. The Twinnies snagged one back in season whatever that was that had the Twinnies on it.
21?
Yes.
21.
21.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a good place to put a fast forward, and there wasn't one, and also we're at the point now where fast forward is going to get, like, I think if you don't do it at the final 5, like, or before, it really gets into this area of coronating somebody.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's take this question from Noobface. Did you find it hard to root for Blair because of Haley?
No, because I'm also rooting for Haley.
Okay, did you find it hard to root for Haley because of Blair?
Early on, maybe I did a little bit, but I like them both. I would like nothing better than to see Blair and Haley win because I think it's I think it would show the most growth.
Okay. Let's bring in Nick Towns, who says, if Brendan and Rachel were in a season with Blair and Haley, which couple would get more screen time? Couple used loosely in the second case. In addition, how can cameraman keep it together when Haley starts going crazy?
Cameramen have seen everything at this point. I don't think a little bit of nagging is going to phase any of these guys. They are professionals. But as to the Brendan and Rachel comment, I think Brendan and Rachel would notice Blair and Haley taking away some of their camera time, and they would up the ante.
Okay. All right. I think that, boy, I'm trying to think. I'm going into Big Brother, and I'm trying to remember. Like, Brendan and Rachel used to get into big fights like that, but I feel like they don't really do that anymore. But I feel like that Haley has been meaner to Blair than I remember Rachel being to Brendan.
Yeah, it's true. I think by the time Rachel and Brendan hit The Amazing Race, even their first time out, Rachel's frustration was never with Brendan. It was with everything else happening around her.
Yes. Okay, this is from Jeremiah Yap. Do you think that the Shuffle Detour would make a good Survivor Challenge?
They've had Survivor Shuffleboard in another sense.
They have done Survivor Shuffleboard a number of times, including in Survivor the Amazon. They did it.
I recall.
They did it in Survivor Vanuatu. I know they did it in Survivor Tocantins. I think there might have been one other time along the way. Not the most interesting challenge visually.
No, but it's one of those ones that's like half delicate motor skills and half luck, so that some rando who never had a prayer of winning any other challenge in any iteration of Survivor can actually win that, and sometimes through not doing anything on their own.
Okay. All right. Here is a question from Ryan Noakes. First team, new kid. Second, the Olympians. Now the hairstyle. Is it just me, or do non-elimination legs of The Amazing Race seem as if they're too predictable?
Non-elimination legs have been super predictable on The Amazing Race since season 1.
Yeah. I don't think that there's a conspiracy that the Amazing Race was like, oh my god, we can't lose the hairstylists.
No, nobody cares that much.
Nobody will watch the show next week if the hairstylists are eliminated.
Yeah, nobody cares that much about one single team. And it's really hard to tell in the moment. I think while you're filming, it's very hard to tell who's going to be the fan favorite. So even if Matt and Ashley were like far and away the most popular team this season, which, they're okay. I like them fine, but they're not, oh my god, I love these people, I want to go up and have them cut my hair. I think the show would have a very hard time telling that was what was going to happen, and they would never rig the show for that.
Yeah, I mean, not for that. I mean, there's been times where there's like a Martin Bopper gotta, you say, oh, okay, did they do something like that? But half the time it's like, really? They're gonna, risk the integrity of the show with all due respect to Matt and Ashley. Like, I don't think they're gonna go really reinvent the wheel to say we gotta save them.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like the Mark and Bopper thing, if anything, they were trying to make them finish the task because it was a non-elimination leg and they needed them to not be 24 hours behind everybody else. So in that case, it was more like, yeah, finish the task, because if they were going to be out, they could just quit and Phil could come and get them and be like, yeah, you don't have to do this anymore.
Let's do a few more questions. Oh, Mike Bloom! Give it up for Mike Bloom! Did anybody expect to see Porky Pig pop out when Tyler was talking about his costumes?
Porky Pig.
Yes.
I think this reference is lost on me.
I thought it was an Orphan Black reference. I thought if I watched you and Mike Bloom talk about Orphan Black on post-show recaps, I would know what he's talking about.
I don't believe there's ever been a Porky Pig on Orphan Black. Yet.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of clones we haven't met yet. One of them could be like a strange experiment.
Okay. George Wise says, which storyline is more likely to end in victory? The individual strengths of the Blind Daters or Mike and Rochelle's underdog story?
I think Mike and Rochelle would be a satisfying win, to be honest. Yeah. They started out really rough, and they learned from their mistakes. They won a leg fairly early on. They've been solid. They've been solider than people give them credit for.
Okay. Once again, they're next to last. How many legs this season have they been next to last?
That's a good question. I can probably find that out.
Okay. All right. Let me while you're marinating on that, let me ask you another question.
Okay.
All right. This is a long one from Gary B. Am I the only person who misses the airport rush teams trying to get ahead by getting on standby or other options, and people having a lot of time ahead of other teams, or people getting so far behind?
Sometimes it's interesting, but I think lately we don't see it because they've been pre-booking a lot of the flights. And I think they want to kind of cover that up. Like, there was a lot of that early drama where, someone would find an earlier flight and everybody else would be like, where are they? Are they far behind? Are they far ahead? And it's a little bit interesting. I don't like it every episode. I don't mind not having it every episode.
Yes, you like it sometimes.
Yeah, FYI, the answer is Mike and Rochelle have been in next to last place 3 times.
3 times, okay. Not less than I would have guessed.
Yeah, it's a lot less.
Okay.
Actually, well, if you count... Yeah, there was a non-elimination leg. They were next to last in both halves of the non-elimination leg, and they were next to last, so it's 4 times.
4 times, okay.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
I mean, but it's like, how many legs have there been?
Yeah, it's not the best record of anybody. There's been 9 legs, so that's just under 50% of the time.
Okay. They
do have, I think, the lowest average of anybody left in the race.
Okay. This is from Mr. Air Sonic. Except when were maps ever helpful? It seems that every team in all seasons uses a map.
He says, except when were maps ever helpful? He's sassing us.
Okay, alright, got it.
Maps have been helpful to everybody 95% of the time. What you're referring to, Mr. Aersonic, is the other 5% of the time that they show.
Yeah, are maps overrated on The Amazing Race, Jess?
Yeah, who needs a map? Nobody needs a map. Just, go where you're supposed to go. Use your internal compass.
Yeah, I know where I'm going. I don't need to stop and ask for directions.
Yeah, maps are for sissies.
I don't need no stinking map. Okay, Gary wants to know, are the teams going to Machu Picchu next week?
No, they're not going to Machu Picchu, but they are going to Peru.
Are the teams going to Boston next week?
No.
Okay. Are the teams going to El Salvador next week?
No.
Okay. Alright, Nick 2S wants to know, do you like the search for a specific object type roadblock, Jess?
I do. I think, I like any kind of needle in a haystack thing that they do. They trot that out once or twice per season. I think it's a set of skills that you need to have before you go on the show, and I think when they don't call on that, it feels like something is missing.
Okay. The needle in a haystack challenge.
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes the needle is bigger and sometimes the haystack is smaller, but basically, yes.
Okay. Let's do 2 more questions. Scott Grimes says, just my Amazing Race was preempted by storm coverage. What the heck was with insert last place team here? Can you give Scott a recap of the episode, Jess?
I can tell Scott, I don't know if this is true in his area, but a couple of people tweeted this at me, that their race coverage was preempted by storms. And I believe that in your area, check your listings. They might be rerunning the race at 1:15 tonight.
What part of the country had storms?
I have no idea.
All right.
I didn't check. I didn't ask the woman I was going back and forth with where she was, but she said that she's going to have to wait until later tonight to watch either the podcast or The Amazing Race.
Okay, here we go. This is from Jer Martin. Why is Haley screaming for Blair to wait when he's just some feet ahead of her? That's what Blair was asking.
Yeah, well, if she doesn't tell him to wait, he might not wait, and he might end up a mile ahead of her, and she'd be lost in Amsterdam, and lost in Amsterdam is bad.
Yeah, people be laughing at her butt.
Yeah, you don't want people laughing at your butt when you don't have Blair around for moral support.
All right, let's do one last question from Caleb Jones. Is there a rule that there must be someone standing next to Phil at the pit stop? Because what's really the point of a random kid? It's a good question, Jess. What's the point of a random kid?
You need to meet at least one local.
Do you have to?
I think I like having a greeter there. And, sometimes it comes back in, like, the memory challenge. And sometimes it's just like you want someone to say hi to you. In the first season, the greeters had a lot more to do. In the first season, you never saw Phil unless you were in last place.
Oh, really?
Like, the greeter would stand on the mat and tell you you're team number 1 or you're team number 2. And then if you showed up and there was Phil, you're like, crap, I'm last place. And then eventually they're like, this Phil guy, he's pretty charming. Let's give him more to do. Let's have him be there the whole time.
Yeah, we're paying him enough, right?
And plus, there's more suspense that way.
Yeah.
If you see him every time, then you're not sure whether you're last place or not. So they let him be there all the time. But they like the idea of having, like, you get to see a little bit more of the culture. Like, you see someone in native garb. You see a guy like hockey's important in Amsterdam, I guess.
Can you believe we saw the Amsterdam Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah, I was, I'm pretty starstruck.
Yeah.
He's only 15 years old, and he's the Wayne Gretzky of Amsterdam.
Probably born in January.
Probably. Someone's been reading their Malcolm Gladwell.
Okay. All right, Jess. Great job. We need a hashtag.
Butt laughter.
Butt laughter. Okay. There you go. Butt laughter. I was going to go with compliment sandwich, but it's been that kind of week on the podcast for a butt sandwich. Sorry, butt laughter. Butt laughter.
No. Now the hashtag is butt sandwich.
I think that I would not recommend. That's probably an NSFW hashtag.
That's probably something somebody's already using for something, but I don't think butt laughter is.
All right. Just what a week we've had on RAJP. Earlier tonight I spoke with the great Neha the Slaha, from Big Brother Canada 3. Lots of very exciting week on Big Brother Canada this week. Talked about everything going on there. And Neha talked a lot about everything going on there. We also had our big Survivor recap. Richard Hatch was on the podcast and voicemails with Colin Stone. Richard Hatch, I thought, was great on the Survivor podcast this week.
Yeah, he was really on top of his game.
He was locked in. I was very impressed with Richard this week. He had a lot of interesting takes on the show. Of course, we had our Survivor Know-It-Alls and our exit interview from Survivor this past week, and now we're gonna get ready to do it all again this next week, Jess.
Back to the top of the order.
Yes. We're going to have some special coverage coming up. I've got a podcast that I recorded with Scott Porter, formerly of Friday Night Lights, and Heart of Dixie. He's a big Survivor fan. We talked to him about what's going on this season on Survivor. Plus, we will do our amazing race wrap-up once again next Friday, 9:15 p.m. as we get down to the final 3 episodes of the season.
Yeah, it's really winding down.
Yes. All right. So, Jess, have you thought about what you're going to blog about?
Yeah, I'm going to compare this to a couple of other legs that we have seen in recent seasons. And there's some similar strategies that I've observed this week that reminded me of a lot of things that we've seen relatively recently.
By the way, Jess and I also did a special podcast on Monday where we spoke with your reigning Amazing Race champions, Amy and Maya.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I've been in chats, like, I've had a couple of people, like 1 or 2 people get on the horn to me about why aren't we getting more racer interviews. I've been talking to almost everybody from last season's cast, and we're trying to get it together, but I'm glad that Amy and Maya came through for us.
Yes, okay. All right, so just keep us posted as we get down to the final couple of weeks of the Amazing Race season. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live and also in the archives. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say in the comments on robhasawebsite.com. Thanks, Scott St. Pierre, for pulling all the questions, and have a great night, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.